Go ahead, just come on in. Welcome back to the show. Right next to me here, Angus Young and Brian Johnson of AC/DC. Great to have you guys on.
Real pleasure.
First of all, let's just start. I've already given the introduction, but in 1979, I read an article that said that AC/DC is now outselling the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, this hard rock band that nobody liked in the early days, the critics I'm speaking of, not the audience. Now, this huge success, Rolling Stone jumping on the bandwagon. How does it make you feel?
No, you went through that, didn't I?
Angus, how does that make you feel?
Yeah, you know, for the kids it's great, you know. For the critics, well, for them.
You know, it really, it's amazing how critics will go to review a show and they don't like rock and roll, hard rock to begin with, but that they're assigned to cover an AC/DC show. I don't want to spend too much time on critics, but generally speaking, have you had good reviews recently? I mean, has the reviews started to pick up? Because at one time there was very negative reviews on your...
I think it's always been pretty negative from what I get. I mean, we just see a few, you see a few now and again. But I mean, the main thing of it all is it's just what the kids come, and the reaction of them, you know, that's the whole important thing. You know, if you're worried all the time about what people say or write about you, you'll never get on with it, you know.
Yeah, you've never been concerned about image. Image is not something you're preoccupied with.
No, I haven't shaved today.
Well, that's one of the trademarks, I think, of the band, is that you're not out to prove a point, you're not out to talk about politics, you're out to rock and roll. And Brian, how do you feel about that? There's no doubt about it.
You're saying that none of our profile image, they hired me.
You always underrate yourself.
Yeah, well, he is pretty rough.
This guy, folks, will blow out microphones. When they were recording Back in Black, I think it was 10 mics. Great mics now. Blew him out. His voice is so powerful.
That's because he had my guitar up behind him. I had him heavily armed, heavily covered.
Let's go back. Let's get to the history. A lot of folks are watching the show tonight that they've heard about AC/DC, but they say, well, I really don't know much about him. I don't want to sound stupid to my friends who are already into him. Let's cover for a minute or two the history. When you were in school, you had the influence of your older brother, George. If you remember back in the 60s, the Easy Beats, a great song called Friday on My Mind. Well, that's Angus's older brother who did that, and now Flash in the Pan. How did the group start? Was it that influence, the environment and the family that got you into it?
Nah, I think it was just something that, because me and Malcolm had always played guitar from when we were small, so it was just something to get out of work. I mean, working for a living would be pretty tough. You know? So.
Did you ever work for a living? Did you have a job in a factory like Brian did? Did you ever do any of that manual labor?
No, I was a qualified cleaner.
What is that?
You know, sweeper. I was one of them. Made a great cup of tea. I always said if you can do a great cup of tea, you can do anything. You know? Make a good cup of tea, you can run countries, you know.
Yeah.
I bet you Ron Reagan makes a great cup of tea. Either him or his missus.
That may be true. Is it true, Brian, back in the early days you were making bells?
Bells?